All right, welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. César Mascorro Jr. from MH Sales Mastery. And man, what a great evening it's turning out to be. Hope you guys are doing great. Let me get myself up on the screen right here. Let's see if we can do this the right way. My gosh, what is going on this evening? Appreciate all you guys coming in and being a part of the intentional advantage. That's right, the intentional advantage. Let's bring this back up on the screen real quick for you guys so that you can check this out. All right, that's what we're doing tonight is the intentional advantage. We're bringing this to you because look, it's 2026 and you would think that by now we'd all understand that, well, things are just different. There's a whole bunch of people out there in the business world. You guys know I specialize in manufactured home sales. That's what I've been doing the last 17 years. I've been in the housing industry for over 30 years at this point. And one thing I do know is that the whole buying system, the whole ecosystem that has to do with sales, especially manufactured home sales, has been turned upside down. But what hasn't changed, I'll tell you what hasn't changed, is how folks operate within the industry. Now, there's some of you out there that are doing a fantastic job. There's some of you out there that are really crushing it. And it's simply because you are accepting the fact that you need to be different. You are accepting the fact that, man, times have changed. And I'm speaking to those of you that have been in the business for a while now, right? You guys understand that times have changed, things have changed, your approach has to change, and you've gone out and changed it. Now, for those of you that are new to the industry, well, some of you are coming in and you've already got that that savviness to you where you understand how the game needs to be played. But that's what we're going to talk about. But we're going to talk much more than just sales. Really, tonight, what it's about, folks, is about helping you understand how you can make your business, your sales, or just even your life happen for you as opposed to you. Okay. And guys, you see, far too long, I've personally struggled with this where I felt like, man, things always seem to go wrong for me, man. Why is it that it seems like everything works out for everybody else except for me? And I'm here to tell you that the majority of it, okay, is all up here. For those of you that have been thinking the same thing, you've been wondering about that, like, why is it that these guys get to have all of these things, but I don't? Well, check it out. What you got to understand is this. Those guys operate differently. It's not that they're any different from you. It's not that they've got, a lot of times we say, man, well, they're lucky and they this and that. No, they operate differently. They use a completely different operating system that what you may be using up until now. I know it's different from what I did. And so tonight, what we're here to do is to help you be able to have a different outcome in your business, a different outcome in your life. And look, this webinar is completely free. I'm not here to pitch you on anything. I'm not here to ask you to buy anything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you something for free at the end. Okay. I'm going to give you something that you're going to be able to grab a hold of and run with and start implementing into your life, or into your business, or if you're in sales, into your sales. And it's going to help you be able to take control of what you've got going on so that you can have life happen for you as opposed to you. And so let's dive right in. And hey, look, a little bit of housekeeping for you guys. Okay. If you've got questions, put them in the comments. Okay. Drop your questions in the comments. It kind of shows up here on the screen for me. I'm gonna put them up on as they start popping up. We'll put them in here and make sure that you guys can see the questions that are coming up, and we're going to address them as we go. Okay, this deal, man, we're on the fly here, and we're going to be answering these questions as we go. I'm going to take the crawl off of there for now. So check this out. Let's bring this up. Okay. We're going to make sure that you guys have everything. I'll keep myself here down in the bottom corner because I want you guys to get the meat and bones of this. All right. And we're talking about the intentional advantage. And I know that the title here is it's reaching out directly to manufacturer and home sales professionals, but look, I'm talking to everybody right now. When we're going through this applies to all of you. I don't care what you do. I don't care what kind of business you're in. I don't care if you are working in a grocery store or you're in a restaurant. This whole intentionality thing is going to separate you from everybody else. And that's what we're going to dive into today, right? Because here's the reality for you guys in 2026. Okay. The market is not going to save you. And look, we've heard a lot of stuff going on where you've got these new tax incentives, the new tax code that's in place, right? A lot of folks now with no tax on tips and all these other things, they're going to see a huge increase in their returns and whatnot. But the market's not going to save you, right? Because here's what's going on. Everybody out there, whether they're buying manufactured homes or if you sell cars or buying cars or furniture, whatever it is, okay, all of these folks, everybody is more informed. Why? Because they got this thing right here in their pocket. They got this supercomputer that they get to walk around in, and they can just go in there and search for whatever it is that they are looking for. They can go in and search and make sure that what they are trying to purchase or get for themselves is something that they know about, so that they can feel a little more confident, right? Or sometimes it works to the opposite of it, right? They go in and they research all these things, and now they're even more nervous to move forward. They're more nervous to make a decision. So because of that, look, there's more hesitation. That whole, it not only is it, we're talking about emotional overload, right, man? Oh my gosh, I need to get this home. I need to get this car. I need to get this, whatever it is they're talking about. But there's information overload, right? So what that means to you is this: because they're more informed, because they're which is causing them to be more hesitant, right? They're being more cautious. I remember even 5 years ago, guys, when I was still selling manufactured homes, the phone was ringing off the hook. Right. And people were coming and calling and trying to get their homes. And now it seems harder for you guys. And there's, even though they send in their information, it's a little more difficult, right? Because there's less margin for you to just wing it. So are you the kind of person, just like that picture shows there, right? Are you the kind of person that's hoping that things are going to work out for you in 2026? Or are you the type of person that wants to take control? You want to be in control of the outcomes. You want to be in control of what is actually happening for you and not to you. If you're that type of person, if you want to be the kind of person who is in control of the outcomes, I want you to comment in the comments. I want you to put in there control. All right. And I ain't talking about Janet Jackson. I'm talking about, you want to be in control of your future. All right. Because the more interactive you are here, the more you're going to get with what we're going to be giving away here. Okay. So drop in there in the comments on that, but let's talk about this. You see, the common misconception is that busy is what you need to be, right? And I'm here to tell you right now, okay? Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer wants to be in control of her future. And Jennifer, we're gonna do everything we can to make sure we set you up for that. Okay. But check this out. Jennifer and everybody else, I want you guys to understand this. There's no prizes for being busy. Nobody cares if you're busy. Nobody cares if you're busy. I can almost guarantee you that your employer, if you guys are employers out there, I can almost, if you're employees of a company, I can almost guarantee you that the owner of that company could give a rat's ass if you are busy. What they want from you are results. Plain and simple. And at the end of the day, folks, you should want results as well. Results are the only thing that matters. Winning is the only thing that matters. And even if you're paid hourly, well, I'm just paid for being here, man. So it don't matter to me if I'm here 5 hours or 10 hours. I don't care if nobody walks in the door or if somebody does walk in the door. I still get paid my hourly rate. Well, let me tell you something. If that's you, if that's how you're thinking, even though you're hourly, okay? I can guarantee you this, that if you're sitting there and you are one of these hourly folks, and it doesn't matter whether somebody walks in the door or not, that business is probably not going to be there very long. And now you're going to wish that there were customers coming in the door, because that's job security for you, right? So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be on commission for results to matter. So getting back to it, busy versus productive. Let's talk about the difference, right? Because most salespeople are busy. Most salespeople are, man, I'm busy. I got to do this and I got to do that. And they're all over the place. I was just talking to one of my sales teams today about that. Like, where is your focus going? When you go into work, why do you lose focus there, right? You got to find out what those distractions are, because here's what's happening. Those people that get distracted and don't get things accomplished, they're not intentional about what they're doing while they're there. So activity, guys, is not the same as progress. I don't care how active you are. I don't care how busy you are. The results, the progress is what's important. Same thing with the moving around, right? And I'm doing this and I'm doing that. None of that matters. What matters is, are you building momentum? For those of you that are selling houses, you want to build that momentum in the amount of appointments you're setting, because those appointments lead to people showing up, and those people showing up now gives you the opportunity to actually get a deal moving forward. And when you get those deals moving forward, now you put yourself in a better position to actually close something so that you can get paid. So it's all about building that momentum, right? It's about building that momentum. So the effort is great. You need the effort to start, but the effort should lead to results. And you're probably sitting there or wherever you're at right now saying, no, duh, Cesar, I did not know that. Well, just hang with me here. Because if you do know that, which I'm sure you do, then why aren't you focused in on the results? Why is it that you can't get yourself to get on track right now at this point in time, folks? Man, most people are dropped off of their goals, their New Year's resolutions, all of that stuff, right? Why? Because they weren't intentional about them. And we're going to talk about that this evening as we go through this. And again, just if you got questions, drop your questions in here, man, because then I will keep going. All right. But let's talk about intentionality. What the heck is intentionality, right? So that's that. You being intentional means you're deciding your outcomes in advance before you actually get to. Right now, we're approaching. This is month in, right, for January. Before you go into February, you already understand what outcomes you're after for February. You're not kind of trying to make it happen in February. No, you're in control of February. You know what outcomes you're at. You're designing those systems that are going to make that outcome happen. So how does that happen? Okay, well, look, if you're again, I'm going to use the manufactured home industry as an example. If I'm a sales consultant and I'm rolling into February, and I'm saying to myself, man, in February, I need to make X amount of dollars. Right? Because I need to cover this stuff that I got to do. And I got these plans for these other things, whatever it may be, right? I need to make an X amount of dollars. Now, what you are doing, that means that you're figuring out, okay, based on what my average commission is here where I'm at, now I am going to figure out how many homes I need to actually fund in February so that I can get paid, so I can make that dollar amount. Now, in order for me to fund those, here's the thing though. The kicker is this. You got to understand that what you're getting paid in February, you already determined that back in November or October. You see, in this business, guys, what we do today on the 28th of January, it's not going to pay you in January. It's not even, probably not even going to pay you in February, unless it's something that could go fast, right? Something off your lot to somebody's got land. But more than likely, it's not going to get you paid in February. So right now, guys, January 27th or 28th, I'm sorry, you're being intentional for February, March, April, maybe even May. Right now, guys, we are being intentional by what's going to happen 60, 90, 120 days from now. But let's go back to that example, right? Let's say, okay, This is the 27th. My February is pretty much lined out. Okay, man, I can't do anything about February. Hopefully I can find somebody who's going to buy something cash, and I can maybe add it to my month and get paid a little bit more, right? But right now, really what you're doing is you're planning for March. Or April. Let's just say we're planning for April, right? So at this point, what you got to say is, okay, in April, I need to make X amount of dollars. In order to make X amount of dollars, I know that my average sales price here is at this location is X. And for selling that dollar amount, I know that I get paid Y, right? So now I figure, okay, I get paid this much on the average sales price of a home, but I need to make this much. So that means I need to fund X amount of houses. Now, to be able to get X amount of houses, that means I need to get so many different applications, because right now when I'm looking at my information, right? I'm looking at my information from the applications I submit, about certain amount out of every 10 to actually get to the finish line. I'm just using general numbers. So that means if I'm submitting 10 applications to get to closing, we got another issue there. We can talk about that later, right? Why is it so low? But anyway, let's just say for kicks and giggles, right? It's 2. And if your number that you've got to fund in April is 4, that means what? Now I've got to get 20 applications submitted. Well, heck, how many people did I have to talk to submit 10 applications? Because now I got to double that in February, so that I can have the total amount of applications in, so that I can spit out 4 deals in April. That's how you've got to plan this thing out, right? So you're deciding your outcomes in advance. You're designing the systems that lead to those outcomes, and you're removing emotion from that daily execution. What do I mean by removing emotion from the daily execution? Check this out. So when we're talking about this, okay? When we're talking about this, hey, and Ronnie, you're gonna be able to drop in some questions here, my friend, as we roll through this, okay? But when we're talking about removing emotion from the daily execution, what we're talking about is being able to not let life affect the outcome that you're after. Oh my God, Cesar, well, how am I supposed to do that? Okay. And Ronnie, this I know I heard about the backstory, sir, on what you got going on, right? In your situation right now, what we're talking about, it being just a little bit of time into the business, now you've got to start thinking about, man, okay, I've got this type of training. I may not have everything I need, but I wish that they would have trained me some more. Okay, well, we all do. We all do. And you're doing a great job in looking for more on your own, right? You're deciding those outcomes for yourself. You're designing the systems. You're going out and searching for the answers. And now you're removing that emotion, man, because any other person would have been, well, I wish my manager would have trained me some more. But instead you're saying, well, I got what I got, man. Now I got to go find what I need. And that, my friend, is a great sign of you being intentional, right? When it comes to this. So we remove that emotion. We don't let us getting pissed off about this or that affect what we're trying to get done. Because when you do that, folks, now you're separating yourself. You're no longer that accidental type of salesperson where, oh, I stumbled on a good month, and then the next 3 months you suck. Because an intentional salesperson, they make things happen, right? Those are those top producing type of sales consultants. And that's, I'm sure, Ronnie, what you want to be. And Jennifer, I'm sure, is when we're trying to be to accomplish something like that. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Okay. That accidental, that salesperson that just stumbles on some deals every once in a while, that has that pipeline that does this number, that has the paychecks that does this number. Okay. Those are the type of people that react to the day. They get pulled in all different directions. Somebody's calling for this, and there they are. And because they didn't have anything planned out, now they got pulled in this direction. That you're hoping that somebody walks in the door. You're starting over every single month rather than already having it laid out. Right? That's one of the things that I'm working on right now. And Ronnie, this is a great thing for you to grab a hold of is you need to already have been planning out your month before. Right now, sir, you need to be thinking about March and April. How can I get what I need to do by March and April, right? So that way you're not starting over. You're just working the plan. Because an intentional sales consultant, they plan their day out the day before. They protect their income first. Man, I got to make X amount of dollars. And that's what I'm going to do, right? And because of that, they build those predictable pipelines. They got the pipeline that is there where they can pick and choose the deals that they're going to fund every single month because they're moving along. They've got the numbers in their favor. And that's what you need to do as you go along through this. But why is it that most sales consultants struggle? Well, one, guys, the data does not lie. The data does not lie. And so you've got to understand this. Do not avoid the data, however you want to pronounce it. My son will say tomatoes, right? But listen, don't avoid the numbers. The numbers don't lie. I used to be that kind of person. I worked at this one place, man, where we measured everything. And sometimes I was like, I don't even want to look at that number. I use this analogy all the time, right? When you don't want to open up the bank app, because you know that there ain't any money in there, so you're avoiding looking at it. Well, it's the same thing with your data for your business, for your sales pipeline, for your appointments, for your calls logged, and all of these things. You don't want to look at it because you know you haven't been doing it. So you avoid the data, right? And because you don't plan the day out the day before, now you start out your day reacting to the day. You're letting the day run you rather than you run the day. And those are the kind of people that, man, they're trying to just get any sort of motivation to get themselves to make the calls. I had a conversation about that today with the group, right? And more importantly, Ronnie, Jennifer, and anybody else that's on here right now, are you resistant to standards and responsibilities? Are you resistant to setting a level of execution for yourself, trying to operate at an excellent level? Are you resistant to that? Are you that kind? Well, why do I have to have those things place, right? Man, that's just hokey pokey type stuff. No, it's not. When you operate at certain standards, now, folks, you will level up. Ronnie, you're looking for extra training. That's setting a standard. Right? Now, what are you going to do with that training? What are you going to do with the things that you learn? Are you going to just learn it and then keep doing the same thing? Or are you going to learn it and then put it into action? That's having standards, because as Tony Robbins would say, you don't rise to the level of your expectations. I expect to make $1 million this year. You fall to the level of your standards. And it's taken me a very long time to grab a hold of that and accept that and operate in that way. It's taken me a very long time to do that, because here's the thing. I wanted to give myself the out. And so I wouldn't set standards. And now, folks, over the last 10 years, things have changed tremendously for me, for us and my family and our business and everything else that revolves around us. And it hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine. There's been a lot of problems in between all that. But because you keep a standard and you keep raising that standard, things start to happen for you, not to you. And that's, I believe, what everybody on here wants, right? But when you're not that kind of person, it costs you so much, folks. And it's not just money. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't just cost you money. It's not about the inconsistency in your months. It's not about the fact that you are just like stressed out because you don't know if you're going to make money this month and things of that nature. It goes beyond the burnout. It affects your family, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me, I know from personal experience, it affects your family. It affects your loved ones. When they are doubting, when they're worried about things, guys, look, man, I've been through it all. I've lost houses, I've cars. Man, look, I'm just trying to help you guys avoid all that stuff. But it starts with being intentional. You've got to be intentional about the things you're doing and stop blaming everything else. It's not the market. It's not the rates. It's not any of that stuff. Oh my God, the Fed just came on and they're not going to lower rates. Who cares? You're in control of this, not them. You are. You're letting them have control over your life. So how is it that you, Ronnie, or Jennifer, or anybody else on here, how can you operate? How can you think differently than anyone else? You got to be thinking about outcomes. Okay. Again, man, I'm gonna keep harping on Ronnie on here. The fact that you're on here searching us out, man, that's you looking for outcomes. I congratulate you for that. Right. So you've got to be able to think outcomes first. I love the picture that's on here, right? And kudos to Jasmine for putting this whole presentation together. Check it out. You can't hit a target you don't see. You can't hit a target you don't see. What do I mean by that? For all of you out there right now in sales, man, if you don't have set concrete goals, you're never going to hit any sort of goals because you don't even know what you're shooting for. How can I ever hit that bullseye if I don't even know where it is? How can you be in sales? Everybody says, I want to get in sales for the money. Well, sorry, I almost cussed. Damn it. Then what are you going to do? How do you know what money you're after? Right? So you got to think outcomes first. In the case of selling houses, right? You already are thinking about your appointments in advance. You already know how many appointments. My team, they know how many appointments we got to have every single day, right? You're moving your deals forward daily. You're protecting your income because you're being intentional. You're making things happen. You're getting customers to move. You're getting them to send you conditions. You're getting your finance companies to get those contracts out. You're getting your contractors to move and go get you the bids, whatever it is that you need. You're making things happen. I had my former boss, before I left to go out on my own. I didn't understand it until now, right? and I texted him a few months after I left to start my company. And I said, man, I finally get it. I get what you meant by that, right? But he used to tell me all the time, he's like, Cesar, you're my least urgent general manager. And if he's watching right now, I know that's what you tell everybody, right? But anyway, love you to death, man. No, listen, check it out. The message there is you always have to be pushing. You always have to be pushing things forward, right? Well, why am I going to call her? Why do I want to call them and upset them? No. You see, if you don't call them, then they get more relaxed and they start convincing themselves not to move forward, and you end up losing the deal anyway. So move the deal forward. Be intentional. Carolyn's a great example of this, right? Carolyn is a great example here recently of becoming intentional with what she's doing, right? And that is fantastic. And I appreciate you being on here, Carolyn, by the way. So let's talk about it. Where do we get our money from? Okay. Ronnie, here you go. Okay. What's it going to take for you to maximize your opportunity in manufactured home sales? Ronnie, let me ask you, man, if you could put it in the comments, sir. Why did you decide to get into manufactured home sales? I'm going to keep talking while you type it in, but why did you decide to get into manufactured home sales? Okay. So check this out. For those of you out there, I learned this from when I first got into the business. 2009, right? I spent the first 6 years with an independent retailer, and the owner of that company, great guy. I learned a lot from him as well. He always described it this way. He's like, you got to work the bottom of the funnel. You guys see that funnel right there? Okay. You see that, those gold coins coming out, that money, right? That's what we're all after, right? Getting paid, getting the money so that we can live our life, we can pay our bill, we can save money, we can take the trips, we can buy the house, we can buy the car. It takes that money, the bottom of the funnel. You've got to start. You protect your income by starting at the bottom of the funnel. What do I mean by that? If you've got a pipeline that's got 10 deals in it, let's just say, Ronnie, you started building momentum and you built a pipeline, you got 10 customers working right now. Every single day, sir, every single day, you need to start thinking about, out of those 10, which one is the closest to getting funded? Which one is the closest to getting delivered and funded so that I could get paid? Because that one or two, those are the ones that I focus on. First things first, that next day so that I could get that thing moved out of the way so that I can get paid, right? So you got to be thinking about which are those deals, and that's what you got to focus on. And maybe that deal closed, maybe that home already delivered, and you're waiting for it to get funded so you get paid. Now you got to go to your GM, or you got to go to the boss, whoever it is that's running things, say, hey, what do you need from me so that we get that deal funded? Because I want to get paid. I want to take some money home to mama, to daddy, whatever you got. Okay. I need to do that. So you got to start thinking about that. Let me put these comments on here so you guys can see people dropping comments in here. All right. And then from there, Ronnie, on those 10, now you got to look, okay, I'm addressing these two right here. Now, which ones are closest to closing? Because that's the step before it could get delivered, right? You got to close it. If you got to order the house, now you can order after you close, and then you get it delivered. But which ones are closest to closing? And let me focus on those, so I can get the deal closed and start getting that much closer to getting delivered and getting funded. And then from then on, now it's okay. What about the rest of them? Is there something that I can do on those to move them along? Okay. That's why you see all those people on the top of the funnel, right? Those are all your existing deals, man. This is the new ones that are dropping in the bucket into the funnel, but you got to start down here. And every day, every evening, Jennifer, I'm glad you're taking something from this. Jennifer, every single evening tonight, once we're done here, this is what I want you to do. I want you to think, okay, let me look at let me work through my pipeline and figure this thing out. So tomorrow when I get into that office, man, I hit the ground running. My GMs were like, he's catching up to me, or she's catching up to me. Too many of you guys wait for the GM to get you going. If you're in retail, you're waiting for somebody else to get you going. If you're in the community space, you're waiting to be told what. No. Nobody should be telling you. You should be telling us what you're doing. Hey, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I guarantee you, look, if your leader, if the owner, if the general manager, sales manager, your regional, whatever kind of leadership you've got, if they're worth a grain of salt, they're going to be excited that you operate this way. Now, I will also tell you, there will be some out there that are going to be like, hey, slow it down. Why? Because they know they aren't doing their part, and they don't want you to jump ahead of them. Right? They start getting intimidated. Believe me, I've seen that happen too, where they can start getting intimidated and they start squashing you down. Man, you cannot let anybody squash you down. They do not take care of you and your family. Okay. They're not going to save you. You need to save yourself. And this is no disrespect. I'm not saying you go disrespect anybody. I'm just saying you got to take control of your business. Let's see what Ronnie had to say here. I've had a massive success in cars and campers. Love the idea of helping people make the biggest purchase of their lives. The financial reward, once established, goes without saying. Of course, right? So that bottom line, bro. All right, you got into it for the money. that's what everybody gets in the sales for, right? Uncapped potential. So why not go out there and execute on it at the best of our ability and get things done, right? So how do we do that? Here's a little nugget for you. For those of you in sales, okay, well, at least in manufactured home sales, there's only 4 things that you should be focused on throughout the day. If your boss or whomever team lead is having you focus on anything other than these 4 things, okay, you need to say, hey, you know what? I appreciate it. If I can get to it, perfect. But I need to do my stuff to get paid, because at the end of the day, you need me to sell in houses. You need me funding homes, and you know, that's what's going to keep the business going through, right? So there's 4 things that we call high leverage activities that every sales consultant should be hyper focused on. Marketing, and this is in any business, right? It's not just sales. So any business that opens, man, you got to have marketing first, and then you got to have the sales. So you go marketing and follow. Those are the 2 main things, right? Once you start building that pipeline, Ronnie or Jennifer or anybody else, right? Carolyn, once you start building the pipeline, now you add that 3rd, right? Or it would really be the 4th, because skill development, which is on their 4th, that's part of every day. I don't care if you've been in this 10 years or 10 days. You're always going to have skill development. You're always going to have training. You're always going to have improvement, right? So you're marketing so that people know that you're out there, Ronnie. You're marketing, yourself. You're branding yourself. And then once you start getting, if the company gives you leads, you got to make those calls. You got to reach out to those people. And look, I'm here to tell you, man, it's taken 15, 20 different attempts nowadays for folks to even answer, right? But you do marketing, you do follow-up, and you do some training. And once you start building a pipeline, now you got to move that pipeline. You got to keep those deals moving, right? Time kills deals. We got to move fast. We got to move fast when it comes to that stuff, okay? And I'll share something with you guys on the follow-up part. I want you guys to understand this. I had a conversation with David Finney last week that we were in Louisville, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. David Finney with Build Media, okay? Very, very knowledgeable guy when it comes to marketing for the manufactured home space. And we did a little interview. You guys can catch it on our social. You go to our LinkedIn, our company LinkedIn, and you can see the full thing there on our YouTube. But I asked him, I said, hey, man, what about all these people now that are screening their calls? All these people that you got to leave your name and the reason for calling before they're trying to see if they even want to pick up the phone, right? Or even worse, now that you got that thing, I think, is it iPhones only? You iPhone people? That's why I don't do an iPhone. Where if your phone is not programmed, it goes to voicemail. I don't know what that crap's about, but anyway, man, that puts another whole other wrinkle in this game, right? So I asked him, hey man, what can these guys do when it comes to that? And he had a great point. Okay, so here's a little something for you guys. He said the way you got to go about it right now is when you get that lead or that person gives you the phone number because they contacted you online. Maybe you got it in chat on whether it's Marketplace or Instagram or whatever, right? TikTok. You've got to text them ahead of time to let them know you're about to call them. Text them from your number so that it warms the number on their phone, right? And they see it and they actually pick up. So guys, yes, it's another step, but man, look, there's so many of you out there that are not getting through. Can I get an amen on that? There's so many of you out there right now that are struggling on even getting through. I hear it all the time. So warm up that lead, send them a text. Hey, Ronnie, this is Cesar over at XYZ Homes. You asked me for some info. I'm about to call you. This is my number. Please pick up the phone, right? So make sure that you're doing that, and you're going to increase the amount of people that actually pick up the phone. Of course, Carolyn, I'm full of great ideas. That wasn't mine though. All right, that was Dave Finney's. But guys, this is how again, being intentional, right? Are you hoping they're going to answer? Well, I called them and it's telling me to leave my name and number, and they send me the voicemail. Or are you being intentional and saying, hey, yo, I'm putting an extra step. I'm about to call you. Pick up the phone. Okay. That's the separator, guys. But you got, now that you're doing these things, okay, talked about it earlier, the data. Okay. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? Because the data, the info, the numbers, you can't run from it. You can't run from it. Are you tracking your calls? Are you tracking the contacts that you're making? Are you tracking the amount of appointments that you set? And then are you comparing those to the ones that actually show up? Are you tracking how many applications you're getting out of every every X amount of appointments that show up or walk-ins combined? Are you tracking that stuff, and are you measuring it to see, am I increasing? Am I going up? Am I trending upwards, or am I dropping off? Because that's the difference maker. That's being intentional about it. And you shouldn't rely on your GM coming to you or your whomever coming to you with the data, and then you're like, you should be ahead of the game, already tracking your own stuff to be able to get that done. And we're going to give you a tool that you can use here at the end. If you choose to take advantage of it, you get it for free, man. Okay. We're going to share this with anybody who wants it. And we wouldn't, I want to see you guys succeed. Okay. I want to see you guys succeed because improvement is intentional. Success is intentional. Right? And what do I mean by that? I mean, you're improving man, if you get a certain objection all the time, I want to think about it. Are you working on that, or are you just kind of doing the same thing all the time? Well, I keep getting told this, but then you don't come up with something to say for that. Are you getting better at your scripts, your phone scripts, depending on the type of situation that you've got going on? Are you improving your sales skills, your sales process, your feature benefit skills? Are you learning about construction? Are you doing this daily? Are you intentional about improving? That's a difference maker. Or are you going home and vegging out and then getting up in the morning and doing it all over again the same way because this is how I've always done it? And then you're wondering why people nowadays aren't responding to you the way that they used to. Well, things are different, like we said at the beginning. You don't have to sell anybody, man. People already sold. So get yourself better, improve, and be intentional. So this is how we do it, right? These are the 5 things, the 5 actions that change everything for you. First, you got to plan out your day. You got to plan out your day the day before, okay? And if anybody on here has a certain time that they do it, man, I'd love for you to share it in the comments. When do you plan out your day? But you got to get it planned out. And then once you have it planned out, right? Once you plan out your day, you got to prioritize out of that plan. What's the most important thing? What are the most important things that I need to get done to move the needle forward, right? And then you protect that. What do I mean by protect that? Don't let anybody distract you. Don't let yourself get distracted. Plan out your day, prioritize what needs to get done first, and protect it. Do not let, whenever I sit down, I have the tendency to scroll. Guess what? Don't sit down. Okay? Protect it. And then you track what you're doing and improve it. That which gets measured gets improved. All right. That which gets measured gets improved. Marissa, if you can put that in the comments, I would appreciate that. My lovely wife there. That which gets measured gets improved. Right. And yes, Carolyn, you should definitely plan out your week ahead of time on Sunday, but things change throughout the week. That's why you got to look at it every day. I plan out my week on Sundays as well, but things change, right? This customer did that, or that client needs me to do this, and unexpected things happen. So every day you got to plan out the next day because things shift and change and priorities move. So track your stuff and improve on that. Those are the 5 things: plan, prioritize, protect, track, and improve. You start doing that on a daily basis, you, my friends, are going to crush it, and you're going to see a huge difference. So how do we do these 5 things? Look, it only takes 10, 12 minutes to plan out your day the night before. You pick out what are your top 4 priorities. What are the top 4 things I got to get done? No ifs, ands, or buts. And hey, man, if I didn't get it done during the day while I was at the office, guess what? Get it done tonight at home. But get the things done. Get the things done so that you can make sure that you are that you are knocking these things out and you're moving the needle, right? And focus on the bottom of the funnel. Focus on the bottom of the funnel and make sure that you've got your 2 appointments planned out for that day. That's what you want to work on every single day. What are the top 4 priorities? What are the deals that I got to get funded or closest to funding so I can get paid? And then what are my 2 appointments for this day coming up, right? And so from there, now you start looking at, okay, which ones are those deals? And you take care of that before the distractions come in. You get to work on that before the distractions come in. Because the longer you put it off, kind of like eat the frog, right? The longer you put it off, man, you're not going to get to it. And then now you're not getting paid, and it just turns into a bigger problem for you. Okay. So you got to make sure that you are doing these things. And so when we're talking about measuring and having a daily scoreboard, right? Review in the mornings, review your plan, and then check it again in the evening. Did I get the things done? What did I not get done, right? And you got to be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be trying to convince yourself that you did something that you didn't, or that it wasn't that important. Man, you know what? I screwed up. I should have done this. I should have done that. Well, then you got to make sure that you get to it. You got to make sure that you get to it. All right. That which gets measured gets improved. Okay. So that which gets measured gets improved. But we got to make sure that we are doing those things. Okay. And then obviously here's an important one. This one is critical, guys. An if-then rule. All right. What do we mean by if-then rule? Okay. If this happens, then I do this. Right? It's kind of like logic in a computer program. If they push this key, this thing pops up on the screen. If I click that button, this happens over here. Well, if you hear this objection, this is what I say. If I get the feeling of wanting to go and scroll on Instagram, I need to stand up and put my phone in the drawer. Come up with those kinds of rules. If I get that feeling, I'm going to put my phone in the drawer and I'm going to stand up and make calls from my office number. Right? Remove the hesitation. Act. Just act. Oh, boy, I don't know if I'm making the right decision. Make a decision. As long as it's moral and ethical, make a decision and move forward. If it's the wrong one, man, you're going to have to come back and fix it. But move, right? And be consistent. And I love this last point right here, guys. Okay. If at any point in time you feel resistance, you feel doubt, you feel whatever, here's what I want you to do. Make 5 calls. What do you mean? If there's ever any hesitation, if there's ever any sort of doubts or anything that pops in your head, make 5 calls to customers. Because what that's going to do for you, you're going to start to condition your mind. You're going to start conditioning yourself so that when you make those 5 calls, you know you're back into business. So whenever you have that happen and you get that doubt, okay, make sure, there we go, that which gets measured gets improved. Whenever you have that doubt, get yourself out there and make 5 calls. And you'll see that you're rewiring your brain and you're doing that, right? And number 5, guys, set 20 minutes aside to learn something. But you got to be deliberate about it. You got to actually plan something. Hey, I need to get better at this. Okay? I need to get better at this. And I'm gonna learn this thing. And here's the thing, you don't just do it one day. Okay? The name of our company, I say this all the time, the name of our company is not MH Sales Good Enough, MH Sell I. No, the name of our company is MH Sales Mastery. Why? Because we're after mastery. When you achieve, you never achieve mastery. Sometimes people think, well, I'm being ordained a master of this. No. Mastery, really what it is, guys, is it's continuous improvement. You embrace the journey. You become a continuous learner. You understand that you're going to focus in, man. I'm struggling right now when somebody tells me that they got to think about it. You're going to train, learn, live, eat, sleep, breathe that thing until it's just natural for you on what you're going to say. You achieve mastery on it, and then you move on to the next subject or the next problem, right? But you got to be deliberate about it. You got to build the skill before you get the comfort. Because once you've got that skill, it becomes more natural. Once you build that skill, you become that much more convincing because you are convinced. So how do we do this? Here's the challenge, guys. Here is the challenge. We want to have you take on the 7-day intentionality reset. All right. We're going to challenge you to take the next 7 days and start working on this tonight. Okay. We want you to start planning daily. We want you scheduling 2 appointments a day. We want you tracking your numbers and setting aside a training block. Sometime in your day, 20, 30 minutes, you're going to train on something specific, and you're going to train on it today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, until you achieve mastery on that, until it's second nature, man, until it's like the other side of it. It's just, it's muscle memory, so to speak. But you got to do this once. And if you take this on, okay, if you take this on, I promise you that you're going to see a huge difference. Okay. You're going to see a huge difference in your effectiveness, in your efficiency, and in your productivity, in your results. Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate that, man. Oh my gosh. I don't know why my wife is laughing, but yes, okay. Hey, listen. So 7-day intentionality reset. Let's talk about this thing. Okay, let's talk about this thing. I don't know why you guys are laughing. Ronnie, speak the truth, brother. So look, what do you get out of this? You get clarity. And when you have clarity, okay, this is something I'm working with our other company about, right? I'm bringing the whole company together twice a week so we can start learning to build that culture of clarity. Because when you have clarity as a company, when you have clarity as an individual, you move that much faster. It's like you're Neo in the Matrix, man, and things are just happening. You're dodging all these bullets. You do everything because you got clarity, and it makes things so. And look, it doesn't mean you're not stressed. Believe me, I am very stressed a lot of times, but at least I'm clear. Sometimes, every so often, I go to my wife like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but then guess what? I put a little bit of focus on it, and I figure it out, and we move. So that clarity, right? You get clarity. And then when you got clarity, you get confidence because you feel comfortable with what you're doing. And now you start building consistency because you know now what to do. So it's easier to do. And when you have clarity and confidence, consistency, you start gaining control. You start gaining control. Your business changes, your life changes, your bank account changes, everything changes. Your loved ones start to see you different. Your friends you'll get those friends like, oh my gosh, you think you're too good for us and all these other, well, you know what? Maybe I am. Well, not maybe, you are better than them. If that's how they're going to be about it, then obviously you are, right? But that's the results. Who doesn't want to have clarity? Who doesn't want to have confidence? Who doesn't want to have that consistency? And obviously, who doesn't want to be in control? All of us do, right? All of us do. We got to make sure that we're doing this. So what happens next, right? You develop that skill of intentionality. But skills require structure and they require coaching. I'm telling you, man, we have coaching in every level of our two businesses. We've got to, because that's the only way you're going to continue to improve. What kind of structure do you have? What kind of coaching do you get? Ronnie's out looking for coaching. What about you? Right? Well, they give it to me for free. Anyway, look, here's what I want you to do. The next logical step is this. I want you to continue on with the system, right? I want you to access tools and coaching that you need and stop relying on hoping. Stop relying on hoping that you're going to get it. You know, we want to make sure that you guys are set up for success as we move along. And so because of that, let me see if I can pull this up. Here's what we're going to do for you guys, okay? Let's see if I can find this thing here. My apologies for this. I thought I had this already pulled up, but I don't. So I'm gonna get it right here for you guys. Don't go anywhere. All right, you're gonna want here's your freebie. Here's your freebie coming up. Let's see if I can get this thing on here, because we want to make sure that each and every one of you is operating at the level that you should be. Okay. We want you being highly successful. And in order to do that, you got to have the right tools, right? And so some of you may or may not know this, but we have what we call the Path to Mastery Planner. Okay. We've got a planner we designed specifically for the industry. And yes, we normally sell it. Okay. No, you're not going to get the full planner. But what I am going to do for you is this. Okay. I am going to give you the model, the sheet that you can use for yourselves. And that way you can start to plan out your day based on those things. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to find this thing. I apologize. I want you to see what this thing looks like. This is what you're going to get moving forward. You can use this for yourself. All right. So it's right there. Preview. Let me see. I feel terrible about this, guys. You see, what I tell you, not everything goes the way you think it's going to go. All right. But what it is, it's a planner that we designed where you're able to lay out your full day. You're able to track your appointments. You're able to lay out your tasks for the day, the amount of calls that you make, how many appointments you scheduled. Everything is on there, right? So I want to give you the sheet, and I want you to run with it. Hey, Ronnie, I'm 53, brother. I'm right there with you, man. You're never too old. It's all in here, bro. It's all in here. As long as you've got the desire and you've got the desire and the discipline, you're going to make it happen. So, listen, if you guys want that planner, okay, or the planner sheet to use for your business, and so you can take on that 7-day challenge, I want you guys to drop in the comments, okay? I want you to put on their planner, and then we're going to reach out to you so that we can get this thing to you, okay? So that we can get this thing to you, and so that you can start to use this and get yourself, here we go, let's see, look, check this out. Now we're talking. Okay, I think this is right here. This is going to work. Oh my God, Cesar. There was an issue with the file. How about that? Okay, let's see if this one works right here. No, not that. I apologize, guys, man. Let me see if I take this off. Maybe it'll let me do it then. Oh my gosh. You don't want to see me like that. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's try and do it this way. Yeah, nope, not going to happen. All right, so check it out. All I need is for you guys to put that on there. I'm going to give you a format to it. We redesigned it, okay? It's brand new. What's up, Jesse? Thanks for being on here, man. And you guys can use this, but I challenge you, take this on for the next 7 days, okay? And see what it does for you. See what it does for your business. See what it does for your confidence. See what it does, because look, your results in 2026 already being decided by how intentional you are today. So for those of you that are jumping on board and saying, hey man, I want to get it, send it to me, please. Okay. That's you jumping on. That's that urgency, right? Act right now. Go get it. And what this does for you, it allows you now, if it's your first time working with this thing, you can share it with people in your office. Look, I get asked all the time, like, man, why do you give so much stuff away for free? I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. Why? Because I really do want to see everybody succeed. I really do. And maybe, who knows, down the road, you may say, hey, you know what? That's that crazy dude that got me that thing for free. And you decide to either get a class from us or come to one of our events. We're going to be in Phoenix next month. For our MH Sales Mastery Live. We'll be in Chicago in May. Now I'm pitching, right? Chicago in May. We're going to be in Orlando in July, and then Dallas at the end of the year this year, probably October. And so maybe you'll decide to come out and be with us for a few days and invest in yourself, right? But I really do want to see you guys succeed. We want to see you guys operate at a high level. And that's why we give so much away for free. Because at the end of the day, the whole reason I left retail was to revolutionize the way the industry works. And these things aren't shared openly all that much. And so I want to bring it to you guys. And if there's a way we can help, man, we're here to help. So I appreciate you guys being out here. Now I will open we got some time. If you guys want to drop some questions, you can drop them in the comments and I'd be more than happy to answer. Ronnie, I know that you had asked maybe tomorrow for a call, and I'm going to reach out to you, brother, so we can jump on a phone call and kind of go through what you're talking about, what you got going on. But if anybody's got some questions, I'd be more than happy to spend a little bit of time answering questions. It doesn't have to be about this. It could be about whatever. Okay. Anything that has to do with sales and whatnot. Greg and I want to attend the next keep moving. All right. Sweet. Yes. Hey, Jesse, by the way, week of the 9th. Okay. I got that class going on up here. Like I told you, you can get Byron and Greg up here for that week. And we'll do that. But anyway, guys, what we do in life and in business matters. And right now, more than ever, society needs you to succeed at the highest level possible. People around you, your loved ones, your friends, your family, your community, they need to see you succeeding at the highest level possible, because there's so much crap going on out there right now, whether you agree with it or not, right? Whatever your feelings may be, get out of your feelings, and you got to realize, man, the reality of it, right? The world is everybody, the majority of the people in the world, man, they just get all up in their feelings and they start trying to bring you down, and they need you to be the example of, this is how we operate. If we all just operated this way, if we all could be an example and help people operate this way, so much would get right. And so that's why we want to see you guys out there succeeding at the highest level possible. And that's why we wanted to come in and talk today about this, the whole intentionality, what it does for a sales consultant or just a person in general, and how you could go about doing it. Because that's one of the other reasons why I do what I do, why we started this company, is because, look, man, it took me way too long in life to figure out what I was doing wrong. Why? Because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody where I grew up, man. The way I grew up, you didn't have people coming and talking to you and telling you, hey, this is what you can do with your life. Okay. And all you got to do is do this. And this is how financing works. Or this, all this. No, I didn't have that. Right. And so this is why we do what we do. And that's why I'm bringing you free webinars like this, to share information, because maybe there may be one of you out there who watched this who had never even thought about this, just like I hadn't up until a few years back. And hopefully you'll run with this and share it with more people. And we just start to exponentially put this stuff out there and get it out there and make things right, and take this industry to another level and take ourselves to another level. So guys, man, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you very much. Go on our website, mhsalesmastery.com. You can go through that, see what we've got going on, from our training classes to our events to things like the planner and our training cards, and anything that we can do to help you guys out. Man, we're always going to go above and beyond to make it happen. So thank you guys once again. We'll be getting you guys the information, the planners, for those of you that asked for it. And that way we can help you with that and take on that challenge. And let's go out there and take control. Let's get in control of our lives and our business and watch what happens. Guys, have a great night. Thank you for being here this Wednesday. And if we haven't met in person, as always, I can't wait to meet you.